All right, we are live. Welcome everyone to another edition of Deconversion Stories. And today I have the absolute pleasure of chatting with my friend Godless Granny. If you're not familiar with her, I have links below that you can go and stalk her. I mean, follow her on the Twitter and the Facebook and the YouTube. And if you dig what she does on the YouTubes, you can also help her out by becoming a patron. Okay, which is always a good thing to do. And I've checked out your Patreon page. It's got lots of stuff on there, and you've got some, you're like me. You don't want to charge people like $40 and shit. It's like $1, $2, $5, whatever. It's all good.
I have one patron.
Do you have one patron? Ooh,
I've had one patron for like the last 7 months.
What the? Let's fix that, guys. Come on. Everyone can throw $1 or $2 out there. Come on, we can do it. Hell, I'll probably do it. I always like to help support.
Well, right now I'm not charging my patrons because of the pandemic.
Uh-oh. What happened there?
Lost the internet for a bit.
Glitch in the system. Yeah, but mine went all squirrely too. I think there was something else going on there.
Okay.
That's bizarre. Okay, we're back. We're back, people. We're back. All new and all different. No, we're still the same people. Anyways, so what I do here is I talk to people about the things that they used to believe and what kind of led them out of it and to becoming the atheist activists that they are today. So why don't you kind of take us back to the beginnings of when you were a believer and the sort of things that you started to go, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense, or whatever your case may have been. And as you were mentioning before, we should give a warning. There will be talk about suicide and stuff like that, guys. So if you're uncomfortable with that kind of thing, you may want to go and grab a drink or something when we bring that up. But anyways, go ahead and take us back to that moment and bring us to the now. And like I said, I might jump in with something utterly ridiculous to say every once in a while, as I usually do. So go ahead and take it away.
Okay. It's a fairly long story, and I will warn you that, the way that I think is very different than most people. And a lot of times I'm very careful about expressing how I think because it does tend to trigger people. And recently I thought I was okay in a live stream, and I ended up triggering one of my panelists, co-panelists. And so I will give that warning. But my journey, if you go all the way back to the beginning, I was born into an Irish Catholic family. Mm-hmm. And my parents were Catholic when I was very young, but they left the Catholic Church when I was 7. My parents came to realize that in the Catholic Church, they would have to have children whenever, they came along, and they wanted to use birth control, which at that time was illegal in the Catholic Church. And so they said, we got a choice, the church or the birth control. And my next door neighbors were also Catholic. They had eight children. And the mother went insane. And my mom said, if we keep this up, we're going to have 8 children, and I don't want 8 children. So my parents left the church. And so I was raised pretty much atheist. My dad has had an interesting journey from agnosticism to theism to Buddhism to, he's tried just about everything. Wow. Definitely a free thinker. But when I got into high school, I started thinking there was something more. And the big problem for me in high school was, I can't even think of the word now, nihilism. I couldn't see any purpose to life. And so when somebody in one of my classes told me that God loved me and had a wonderful plan for my life, I listened primarily because I was on the verge of suicide. I had a razor blade hidden in my bedroom, and I was just waiting for when the house would be empty long enough that I knew that I could bleed out, which with 6 people in the family wasn't the easiest thing to do. And I wanted to make sure I was dead. Nobody was going to find me and save me. So when somebody said to me, hey, if you turn to religion, you can find a purpose for life. And so I did. And I did find purpose. And it did help me hang on for many years, but not completely. And this was the biggest problem with religion, was putting on that mask of trying to pretend that everything was okay when everything was not okay. I admitted to my daughter after she went to medical school, the way that I was thinking was, I found it so odd to hear people talk about occasionally having suicidal thoughts, because I said, I think about suicide once or twice a day on a good day. When I'm in trouble is when I can't think about anything else. And I did go through a period of a couple of years where I couldn't think about anything else. And that's how I got into video games. The one thing that I could do to distract my mind was to play video games. And so I played video games for hours and hours because it would keep my mind focused on something else.
Yeah, sure.
And the way I was thinking when I wasn't playing video games, I mean, I would drive down the street, and if I saw a power line, I said, if that power line fell, I could be electrocuted. I see a semi-truck coming. If I drove in front of that semi-truck, I might be able to kill myself. I mean, that's the way I thought.
Hold on. You don't think this way anymore, clearly.
Not all the time.
Okay, stop thinking that way, because too many of us would miss you. So stop that.
I don't actively look for anything anymore, but occasionally a thought will pop into my head.
Like old habits die hard kind of thing, or
right.
Okay.
And it's just the way I think. It's the way my brain works. And I know it's weird, which is why, like I said, I don't admit it very often, because for most people, it freaks them out.
Common. I think it's more common than people realize. Yeah.
Okay.
My mom was also bipolar and manic depressive combined, so she attempted suicide twice, and luckily there was someone around to bring her back, because she did the razor thing, and as a matter of fact, my friend Harris was the one that rescued her. He got there, and the landlord wasn't going to let her in, or wasn't going to let him in. And he finally pushed the guy out of the way, took his keys, opened the door. And if they'd literally had been 2 minutes later, my mom wouldn't be here today. So,
wow.
And that breaks my heart just to think of stuff like that. So I'm always calling her. And like we were saying before, I got to go help her out a little bit again later on. And every time I go see her, she perks up every time. So that's my duty as her son, just to keep her in an upbeat frame of mind all the time, because she can sink pretty low too. And having diabetes doesn't help either. So,
no.
You know what I mean? So, so you got to remember that there's lots of us out here that care. So,
well, thank you. That's very helpful. I have tried 3 different antidepressants. None of them did a thing for me. I have tried a couple different counselors, and don't think they really helped either. So I just, I go out on my own. Well, with the religion thing, though, one of the things there were a lot of things that contributed to my deconversion. One thing that kind of started me along the road is we quit going to one church and went to another church at the request. Well, I shouldn't say request, but at the recommendation of a friend. And the new church that we were going to was a Calvinist church. The pastor was a 5-point Calvinist, very much a follower of Calvin and Jonathan Edwards and John Piper, who is, the modern day epitome of Calvinists. And I thought, he was right about some things, that, if God isn't sovereign, if God isn't in charge of everything, what good is he? And
I would agree.
And that's the advantage of Calvinism, is that, hey, God is sovereign, and he's in control of everything. And part of being in control of everything means predeterminism. He decided before the foundations of the earth who was going to be saved and who wasn't going to be saved. But going through all of that is the point where I really started questioning my faith, because, if there's predeterminism, there is no free will. And if there's no free will, then what was the point of making all these people that you intended to go to hell?
Well, don't forget, he made Hitler, Pol Pot, Stalin.
Right.
He made all these people. He made all the priests that are currently raping children and other clergy. Right.
Mm-hmm.
He made them too, knowing ahead of time that they were going to do that.
Right.
He knew ahead of time that Adam and Eve were going to fall in the garden. So literally, it's a setup. So he's not a god. He's a dictator. He's a mob boss.
Mm-hmm. And all of the teaching in that church about how everything is for the glory of God it's kind of conceited and self-absorbed. That's not love. That's self-absorption. That's what's the word I'm thinking of? When you love yourself, narcissism.
Oh, narcissism. Yeah, he's omni-narcissist. That's for sure.
Yes.
Not new omni. We're going to add on omni-narcissistic.
There we go. So that was another thing that kind of took a bite. The next thing that took a big bite was, I have 3 children, and my 2 oldest went to Blackhawk Christian School in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and my third one did too until reaching 6th grade when we moved to Alabama. And the second one, when she was a junior in high school, 3 of her classmates became pregnant. And watching how the school handled that really made me question the love of Christianity. Because I said, why is it that these girls are all expelled? Well, 2 of them were expelled. The third one realized that she was pregnant during the summer, and she just simply withdrew and didn't come back to school. But all 3 of them went to the public school. I said, why is the public school so forgiving, but the Christian school, who says they're the forgiving ones, won't forgive? And
of course, because pregnancy outside of marriage is very bad.
Yes,
that's why I was put up for adoption when I was born. So
interesting.
Yeah, I was born to Christians. This is another thing I always bring up when theists are talking about God has a plan. Oh, I see. So his plan for me was to not worship Jesus because I was born to Christians, given up for adoption, and raised by Jews who don't believe in Jesus. What a great plan. That's why none of it makes any fucking sense. So
yeah.
And that's why we're atheists, people.
Carry
on.
The big chinks in the armor came when Trump was elected president.
Oh boy.
Because then I could see some of the things that the Christians were doing that I said, this just doesn't square with the Bible. If we are supposed to love our neighbors, that doesn't mean that we protect the jobs by telling the Mexicans they can't come into this country because we need to protect our economy. There wasn't anything about loving your neighbor, but only if it doesn't damage your economy. And then the next thing was, just all the hate speech that he promoted, and watching my fellow Christians repeating some of the things that he was saying. That was the next big chink in the armor. And one of the things
he didn't know any Bible verses either when they asked him.
Well,
he's such a good Christian.
Right. Where was I going?
You were saying
I know what it was. Yeah. One of the big things was the pastor at our church was complaining about having to be politically correct. And I thought, you have got to be kidding. If anyone should be first in line for wanting to know the politically correct terms, it should be the Christians. Because if you are, he was harping every week on, you've got to tell people about Jesus. You've got to lead people to Jesus. And if you want us to lead people to Jesus, we can't do it by starting out by using offensive terms.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So we need to know what the politically correct terms are and use them so that people will listen.
Also kind of need to know where he is too. Like I heard he was working at a 7-Eleven or something, but if we're going to lead him to Jesus, we need to know where he is.
Yeah.
He's out by the big tree in Edmonton in Canada.
Yeah.
Sorry, South Park reference.
Okay. I never watched South Park. It was too unchristian for me.
Oh, well, there's lots of time to catch up and plenty of seasons of hilarity.
Okay. I'll have to do that. I never watched The Simpsons for that reason either.
Wow. They're even on Disney Plus now.
Okay. Well, anyway, so then I got to the point where, I know the next thing was the pastor was making some really stupid statements during the sermons that were derogatory of people who were unbelievers or derogatory toward people who weren't going to church every Sunday. Oh, wow. And it's, you keep telling us that we need to bring unbelievers to church, but if I do, you're going to insult them. And I was going to a satellite church, so I went and talked to someone.
How'd you get all the way up there? Just kidding. Church floating in orbit. Yay!
That's right. That's right.
We're closer to God.
So anyway, I was good friends with someone who was on staff at the church, and I brought my concerns to her, and she said, you're right. I feel the exact same way. We feel like we can't bring any visitors to the church either because the pastor will insult them. Wow. This is someone who's on the staff of the church. Yeah. So at that point, I realized it was time to leave the church. And we went and looked for a different church. And then we started going to a Presbyterian church, and they do tend to be a bit more liberal. And I talked to the pastor there about some of my thoughts. And I was starting to deconvert at that point, but it wasn't completely. But the pastor really just said, we try not to be political. Oh, okay. It doesn't really address anything, but
emphasis on the try.
Yeah. Well, no, the pastor was right. She did keep away from political ideas for the most part.
She?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Ah, okay. So it's a more progressive type of church then, at least.
Yes,
in that
it was
respect.
a much more progressive church.
Because that's a big no-no according to the New and Old Testament.
Oh, yeah. And my youngest was at a Christian school, and it was funny because the youngest in Bible class was being told that women are not supposed to be pastors. And I did email the teacher and said, you do realize that you are a Presbyterian school, and there are female Presbyterian ministers even within this city. And his response was, well, I'm just trying to spark some discussion. It's not actually what I necessarily believe.
I have to put this up. This is my friend Oz. This is a knock at what the hell's the idiot's name? Well, not an idiot. I don't want to call him an idiot. But he's always coming in and going on about DMT and the heroic dose and shit like that. Well, we had our show the other day, Oz. I had Oz on, and he was in the chat going on about that crap. It's like, dude, DMT, it's a drug. Your mind is altered. You're probably hallucinating. Have a nice day.
Well, as that was going on, I kind of, stopped believing that only people who were predetermined would be saved. And I started moving toward my own personal theology which was, oh, and by the way, I had a home Bible study at this point. In my neighborhood, I was leading a Bible study for anyone who wanted to come. And so it was an interdenominational Bible study.
That was his name. Cafe. That's right. Cafe or whatever that. I don't even know. Doesn't matter. Carry on.
Okay. So, my theology was kind of evolving. And at this point, I thought, I think what's really going to happen is that after people die and they come in front of Jesus, they're going to get a second chance. And
just give me 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
No, referencing the come in front of Jesus. Never mind. It's all
okay.
All right. It's all yeah. It was dirty talk. People, cover your ears if you're under 18.
So anyway, but my theology at that point, came to, I think everybody's going to be saved. And the only difference is going to be that, people who were believers before will be ushered straight in, whereas people who weren't will have a little talk with Jesus and he'll convince them, and then they'll be ushered into heaven. And so at that point, I kind of became a theology of one. And I started looking for anybody that might believe the same way I did, and I didn't find anyone. And so then I was kind of by myself. And then at that point, my youngest said to me, I was working on a report for school, and I realized, what? Noah's Ark is impossible. And I said, really? Why? And
what gave you that idea?
Yeah. And they said, well, for one thing, the methane gas that would be produced by the poop would have killed them all.
Yeah.
And so I Googled it. And yeah, that's right.
Yeah, within the first fucking 3 hours, they would have been dead on the floating around on the water.
So then they said, here, watch this guy, Aaron Ra, and see what Aaron Ra says about it. And so we started watching Aaron Ra. Aaron Ra's vocabulary was over my head. I couldn't understand hardly anything he was saying.
It's over mine too most of the time, so it's okay. And I've actually hung out with him, so it's okay.
Well, actually, I had him on my show just a week and a half ago.
Oh, yeah? Cool.
Yeah, if I did.
He's hilarious.
He is. I love him to death because I credit him more than anyone else with my deconversion. Because what he was saying was that, Noah's flood could not have happened. But there was one thing that he said that I could understand, and it was an absolute facepalm moment for me because I realized I have always known this, and I just never put it together. And that is, he said, there were several civilizations that existed before the flood, and they existed after the flood.
Yep.
And they never went into extinct at the time of the flood.
Yep. All the Aboriginals in Australia were going, we don't remember any water.
Well, I was thinking particularly about the Chinese because I was more familiar
Native
with
Americans.
Chinese. Right. Mm-hmm.
All these civilizations that were flourishing during the alleged flood time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So once I did that, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Was realizing, and that's all it took was that one thing, because all my life I've been told that the Bible is the complete, infallible Word of God. So if it's wrong on just one point, the whole thing falls.
Yep.
And that's one thing that I've said to a number of people. I had always known that Christianity is a house of cards that is built on the Bible.
And
missing
a bunch of cards.
Right. And I always knew that because I tried many times to convert my parents. And I knew that they didn't believe the Bible. And I had to present them something besides the Bible. And I could never find
Book of Mormon. Or you got to run around and see if you can find some of them chick tracts. Those do it every time.
That's right. That's right. Well, those had a lot of influence on me in my late teen years. I used to devour
remember those, and a couple of them actually scared me. So but I was little. I was like 11 or something. Hey, way back in the time when the dinosaurs roamed the earth. But yeah, I remember them coming up, and one of them said something about the lining of the planets, and when that was going to happen, it was going to destroy the world. And I remember shitting my pants and going, "Holy fuck! Please don't let this ever happen." And of course, it's happened multiple times since then, in one way or another. And I'm like, "Oh, here come the big earthquakes," and then oh, nothing happened. It's like people just don't understand science, and I didn't at the time either, so I bought right into that crap. Anyway.
Aaron Ra did a video, I don't remember when, where he's actually inside the ark, and there's a sign behind him that says if the Bible is wrong on one point, then the whole thing is wrong. And Aaron even says, well, I wouldn't put the bar that low. and I just laughed out loud when I heard him say that, because I said, I did. That's exactly where I put the bar. But then my youngest showed me Viced Rhino, and I said, okay, that's interesting too, but that's also still a little over my head. And then my youngest brought me to Apologia. I said, this.
Oh, yeah.
And it was
a really good communicator when it comes to that sort of thing.
Yes.
Really is.
Yeah. And so I just made the progression. I listened to Apologia for about a month. And after listening to him for about a month, then I could understand Viced Rhino. And then after listening to Viced Rhino for about a month, then I started understanding Aaron Ra.
Aaron Ra?
Yeah.
Did you ever listen to like Shannon Q? You're naming all the Canadians, right? So you had me and Rhino and Apologia, Shannon Q, and even Godless Cranium, who's also Canadian. So there's a bunch of us.
Godless Cranium, I don't know.
Don't know Godless Cranium?
Nope.
He's kind of faded off a little bit. He doesn't really mingle in there so much anymore, and I don't even know if he's really doing that many videos these days. But Mike's a good guy. I mean, I've chatted with him. I've had him on the show. He was one of the first known people that I actually had on the show way back in the day, and we still chat from time to time. So
I adore Dark Matter, and
Dark Matter is great.
You might not think that would be my cup of tea, because he tends to come on kind of strong. But
but he's funny.
He is. He's hilarious, and I just I love him. I love Zod.
Zod's great too. I've done some voice work for him.
And Godless Engineer, he lives in the same city as I do.
I know.
And
actually, I'll let you in on a little secret. I messaged him earlier and told him you were on my show tonight, and if he wanted to, he could jump in the after party. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he hasn't answered yet, so we'll see what happens. He might be busy.
Well, I took him and Casey out to dinner at one of the nicer restaurants in town. Yeah. And I asked him about, how he got into YouTubing and how one goes about doing it. And he told me how to do it. And when I realized it's not that hard, he told me go for it. And so I did. And so, I started my own channel about 6-7 months ago. If you look at my first, someone that's been really encouraging to me is Viced Rhino. Because when I put up my first...
That is a picture of me and Aaron in a restaurant.
Oh, cool.
They eat super, super spicy food, and his was dialed up to 11, apparently.
Oh,
and
wow.
I thought he was going to die. Mine was at like a 9, and he went for an 11. And I thought, that's it, dude. You're going to die. He's sweating bullets, and he's starting to turn like 3 shades of red. Like, dude, you're going to die. Yeah, and this is the one where I always say to people, if you saw us coming down the street together, would you cross the street? Because me and Aaron, two great big huge fucking long-haired badass looking motherfuckers. Sorry, I just wanted to get that.
That's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It's your story.
So anyway, he's the one that encouraged me to start doing the channel. And if you watch my first video, it has some interesting content, but the production quality is terrible. I had no idea how to edit. It was my first time trying to edit. The mic level at one point drops way too low, and I didn't know how to fix it. And so you just got to turn the volume up to max to even be able to hear it. And If you watch almost every video I do, I learn how to do something new in the way of production. And yeah, I've
Cool.
come a long way.
You have. And you know what? You use this too, like the StreamYard type thing, and it's pretty basic. I mean, it's easy to use. It's user friendly. I used to have to do all my own when I ran my gaming channel, which, if anyone's interested, I used to play a children's card game called Yu-Gi-Oh. What am I used to play? I still have cards right here, and there you go. There's some of the cards right there. Those are synchro monsters. But anyways. And I used to do unboxings, and I would do duels where I'd film them from over above, and you could watch us play and stuff like that. And it was a channel called Sayris 13, which is Sayris 13. I don't really upload there anymore. I've got a few that I've got in the can that I'm going to eventually put up. But Grumpy Cat box, yeah, my roommate made me buy it. She adores Grumpy Cat. Anyway, yeah. So I had that channel for years. And actually, that's part of the reason I'm having issues now with the whole monetization of my channel now, because I had AdSense set up on that one, and I canceled it. But now they're telling me that I still have an AdSense account that I need to, like, just fucking move it. I got to call them. It's just move it over to this one, guys. It's just the one I use nowadays. So, oh, like my shirt, Rage? Yeah, it's just a atheist wings. This is all. We're free. We can fly. I got lots of shirts. I got like piles of shirts. I keep buying new ones every month or so, and always buying I like to support people. I have
a What's Up Heathens shirt, and and I have a Daily Atheist shirt, and I have 3 Vice Rhino sweatshirts.
But yeah, I got to get a Rhino one too because he's Canadian. I got to get I want to get the ham and eggs one too, but in black, and I don't think he has them in black yet. But yeah, I mean, I even got a Utah Outcast who X, by the way, is in the chat there. But it came and it was gray, and I don't wear gray. You know, I'll give it to Rhino. He's gray, but I already promised somebody else. But I'm gonna order another one in black, and I'll have the Utah Outcast. I love their logo where it's got the Utah Outcast, but it's got the. Well, how the hell does it work? Is it something the U and the T are in red or something? It's pretty cool. Anyway, it's a neat shirt, and yeah, I got to get a Apologia shirt. I've already got one from Shiny Q. I got the sexual humanism one. I got 2 from John. I've got got evidence and heathens. The heathen shirt, right? So that's it. That's what it is. That's what it is. The U and the T are, which stand for Utah, clearly. Is outcast. The U of the T there are red where it says outcast. The UT is for Utah. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I knew I had some. It was right close there, anyways. Yeah, I sound like Peter Griffin there. That's right.
I'm going to be launching a Teaspring line soon. I've got all the stuff up, and my samples just came in recently, but I have a huge project in the works.
Cool.
And it's a little beyond my capability, so I'm needing some other people to help me with it. And it actually was originally Chris, Atheist Pastor's idea, and it came about on a live stream that I did. And so I am hosting it, and we are doing the wedding of Kent Hovind to Darth Dawkins.
Oh yeah, I saw bro.
You saw the invitation on my Twitter page.
That's fucking hilarious.
We're going to have to move the date because I did get somebody else to help me with the production because, like I said, there's some things going on in the production that I don't know how to do. And he needs a little bit more time to work on some stuff. So we're going to have to move the date. We haven't settled the new date, so I haven't put up the new date yet, but it's going to move back about a week. But yeah, we are going to make both of them brides. And we are going to do the wedding of Darth Dawkins to Kent Hovind. I am the mother of the bride. Jen of Jen's Little Corner is a bridesmaid. Chris is going to officiate. Grumpy Old Dude is going to be the father of the bride and give the bride away. We're not sure exactly, some of the logistics, but those are the ones we have down right now for sure.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And I'm expecting that to generate a little traffic on my channel. And once I've got that, then I'm going to launch my Teaspring. And the secret behind my Teaspring is the artist that drew my avatar is a young trans man, and is best friends with my youngest. And he has serious problems because his parents will not accept him as male.
Really?
But he is not financially independent.
Oh, boy.
And so that's causing him a lot. So my Teaspring is for him. What I make off of the Teaspring is going to be sent to him.
Then we will definitely have to buy some stuff, because when I hear stories like that, and believe me, well, you know what I do here, I hear stuff about like that all the time. Well, not all the time, but quite often. And that's horrifying. It horrifies me that family members can't accept their children, or parents can't accept their children for who they are. It just blows my mind. And that's not cool, like, at all. So I think what you're doing is fantastic. See, that to me is very altruistic. Like, you got all this merchandise, and you could seriously, I mean, when your channel takes off, and it will, you could be making lots of money off of that, but it's going to go to a good cause. And I'm definitely going to have to buy a couple of things because I know that now. So expect a couple of purchases from me.
The wedding of Kent Hovind and Darth Dawkins, that is a fundraiser for Trevor Project. Mostly because we thought that would tick them off the most, that all these gifts are going to be given to Trevor Project in their honor.
Awesome. Well, that's another shirt I got to get. It's a Rage shirt from Raging Atheist. Well, there's so many I got to buy still. Every couple of weeks, I tick another one off. Oh, all right, I got one from this channel, got one from this channel. But eventually, I'll get them all down there. It'll happen. I'm not rich, people, because all my patron money goes to other things. So I donate it too. So there you go, which is always good. And by the way, become a patron of Godless Granny, because you only have one, and you need more than that. And if you're not subbed to her channel, go and fucking sub to the channel right now, or I'm cutting it off right now. I'm not going to cut it.
God equals the square root of -1 asked if Hovind is the bride, and the answer is we are making them both brides.
They'll both be
we are making it a same-sex wedding, and they are both brides.
That's fucking funny. Thank you, IQ. IQ's got your logistics up there right now. Both are brides because both of them are bitches. Yeah, there you go. That's the free I said. That's funny.
Vesta Freya is someone that's been following me for a long time.
Wait, what?
Vesta Freya in the chat is someone that's followed me for a long time.
Vesta's good people. Will you get my suck my dick Mark Sargent t-shirts from Math Pigs, please? Oh, I didn't even know that. Didn't even know that was a thing. Yes, and I'll be sure to wear that to my mom's place, because she'll probably start laughing. I tell her about all these people that I know about and stuff like that, and she just cracks up all the time. She's very supportive of what I do, even though she hates the fact that I don't believe in God.
That's cool. That's really cool.
She's also confessed to me that she doesn't know if there is one either. She goes, most of the time I think he's not there. I'm like, okay, Mom, that's a natural thing these days, so don't worry about that.
I would think that with COVID that would bring even more questions. All these people praying to God, nothing's happening.
Hey, man, they had so many people get together in Jerusalem at the wall, one of the most holy places in the world. Hundreds of them gathered together praying to end the COVID-19 even before it really took off. Didn't work.
Yep.
And it even says in the Bible, if at least two of you are together, your prayers will be answered. Yep. Yeah, bullshit.
Oh, one of my favorite tweets to answer. Paula White Kane, the spiritual advisor to Trump,
Oh,
frequently tweets, what's in front of you is greater than what's behind you. And I always say, yep, got it. Breasts are bigger than butts.
I kind of like a nice even distribution myself, but that's just me. What's in front of you is greater than what's behind you?
Yes.
I think, well, hang on. I think currently I agree because I got beer right here. So there's nothing that's going to keep this right behind me. So, yeah. True Canadian, always with the beer. I have a. I don't even know what the hell this is. IQ is saying he has a chat and he wasn't invited. I don't know. Yes, you've got some kudos from Vesta. Actually, your production values have improved greatly from your first videos.
Thank you, Vesta.
I literally showed it to you on IQ's chat the other day. Oh, that's where the whole chat thing came in. Oh, you did too. I remember now. I'm old. Sorry. Sometimes I forget things. It's not the drugs, people. Leave me alone.
I forget too. After 50, the memory really starts to go.
Yep. Yeah, you're absolutely right. All right. So after all of this now, like your folks were never really religious after they decided that it was nonsensical and got the fuck out of it. But have you had any other family members that are still religious and are trying, like even currently, to get you to come back? Do you have to deal with anything like that?
No. My second daughter, I told her when I deconverted. Now she is a doctor. And so she tends to just go with the flow with no matter what people say. And so when I told her I was an atheist now, her response was, oh, okay. And of course, my youngest was, and my youngest was fine with it because my youngest is the one that kind of brought me here. The big one though, the door's closed. My husband.
Oh.
My husband and I have been married for 37 years, and he is still a believer.
Really? Again, further evidence that it can happen. And by the way, kudos to you, because in today's day and age, that's a rarity.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's amazing.
The only reason we're still married is because of the religion. If the religion had not told us that, you do not divorce, there's no question I would have left 15 years ago.
These are Canadian beer references right here, by the way. After 50, which is Labatt's 50, which is an ale, or Labatt's Blue, or any other beer. Yep, the mind goes. You are correct. I'm drinking a local one. Hello, Kristen. Yeah, Mama Atheist, you are not forgettable. Trust me. Not forgettable.
So anyway, he is still a believer, but he and I don't have much of a relationship.
Oh?
We both live in the same house, but we rarely speak to one another.
Really? Is it because you've kind of wandered away? No?
No.
Or is this something going on beforehand?
Yeah, he just is not a person who is in touch with his own thoughts and feelings. He doesn't like to talk about what he's thinking or feeling. And that's the whole reason that my youngest was born. There's a 12-year gap between my second child and my third child.
Wow.
And the reason for that is because, I watched the way our relationship was, and that, my husband is a workaholic. He works 12 hours a day.
Wow.
And then when he's done working, he eats his dinner, and then he sits down at his computer and he plays his computer games until he's ready to go to bed.
Wow.
And I said, when the kids leave the house, I don't want to spend 20 years looking at his back while he plays his computer games. So I had another kid. Best decision I ever made in my life.
It's like a computer game, but it's reality.
No, it's just because the youngest is the joy of my life.
Aw.
They absolutely are. My oldest is very steeped in religion. The husband of my oldest is a deacon at his church, a Baptist church.
Wow.
And I don't think my oldest knows that I deconverted. I tried to tell her. Yeah.
What you do? La, 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 and walk away kind of thing? Or
you're pretty doggone close.
It's you can say damn.
We went to her house and we were there for a couple of days. And I said, I'd really like to actually have a conversation with you. So after the kids go to bed, can we talk? Because normally when the kids would go to bed, we'd go to our hotel because they were usually going to bed afterward. And she said, fine, okay, we can talk. So after the kids went to bed, she came down and I said, I'd like to talk. But anytime I didn't say something about her and her kids, she shut the conversation down.
Really?
Yeah. And I said, if you're not willing to talk about anything but you and your kids, then obviously I can't tell you what's going on in my life. And obviously you don't give a shit.
Yeah, clearly.
And we don't talk. And a big part of the problem is her husband. And I thought it was me until recently. Her husband and my aunt got into it, and I realized, no, it's her husband. He just takes offense at anything and everything. He made up this huge story about how I was offended by something and then proceeded to lecture me about how I never should have been offended by it. I thought, you made up the whole story to start with. I was never offended by that in the first place. But anyway, so my oldest doesn't.
That is the door. Don't let it hit your ass on the way out.
My oldest has blocked me from Facebook.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Wow. This is the fucking poison that religion is, people. Wow. That's I hear stories like this often, and it still blows me away that family can treat each other like that because of God. Like, you know what? Even if let's pretending that he's real. Fuck you, you dickhole. That's all I can say. Sorry, I lose myself sometimes. When it tears families apart, that pisses me off the most. All right, I'm good. Carry on.
I have an uncle that has always been not only atheist, but a very vocal atheist. But I have not spoken to him in a long time, and I don't really have any desire to because he nearly killed me when I was 18.
What?
And
Wait, whoa. How?
He took me out fly fishing, and we had 3 beers while we were on the boat, and we didn't catch anything. Okay. So then he took me to a bar, and we had 3 more beers.
Okay.
And now realize I'm 18 years old. Oh, I weigh 115 pounds, and I've never been drunk before.
Oh my goodness!
I was bombed out of my mind.
Yeah, no doubt.
I knew that I was very drunk. When we got back, I was holding onto the furniture so that I could move. And I went to bed. And when I woke up in the morning, I was in a pool of vomit.
Oh,
I was very fortunate. Yeah, I vomited while I was passed out. And so I was very fortunate to survive that night.
I tried to fill a pool with vomit once. It didn't work.
I was fortunate that I was
almost
on my stomach so that I didn't choke.
Yeah, you could have gone the ways of Bon Scott there.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, even the fact that he drove us home when he was just as drunk as I was.
Oh, wow. Well, but back then nobody talked about that shit, right?
Well, plus I grew up in Wisconsin. And, everybody drinks beer in Wisconsin. Some people are surprised at this, but we went to a company picnic, and I was somewhere between about 7 and 10 years old, and they put me and my best friend in charge of the beer, and we were filling everyone's beer cups.
Great. I need to have you at my parties.
10-year-olds filling the beer cups.
I would, my Uncle David babysat me. This is a story he tells me because I have a vague memory of it. I remember some big ass hairy bearded dude that was giving me his beer. That's all I remember. And he says that I actually drank some. And he said, yeah, you were like 3 years old. Your parents went out to some party at their friend's place. And I was babysitting and I had a few friends over. And you were our beer chaperone. Every time we needed a beer, I would stumble over to into the kitchen at 3 and open the fridge and bring beer out. And apparently, and I would open it up. And then one of the guys said, oh, good job. Here, you get a sip of it. And apparently I tried it. And I was like, ew, and ran away or something like that. And then, of course, apparently I fell asleep. So I don't know. Apparently alcohol hit me pretty easily back then.
Yeah, we used to do that too.
You're used to it now.
Yeah, our parents used to give us sips of their drinks, and we always said yuck. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my mom did that from time to time too, especially like she'd go, here you go, and she'd give me like a glass of water or juice or something, and there'd be like a little rum, because apparently I didn't notice when rum was in my drinks. She put a little shot of rum in there, and I'd have this OJ and them or a pop or whatever, or soda as you guys call it in the States. Have us drink, and then the next I'd be like doing the nod while I was watching TV. And then they'd be able to carry me upstairs, and she goes, oh yeah, within 15-20 minutes you were done. I'd slip a little rum, usually rum, I guess, or vodka or whatever the hell they had around. So that's okay, Mom, I got even with you, because when I hit teenage years, I used to take your bottles out, take some out, and then add a little water to them to bring them back up to the level. And he goes, no wonder we never got drunk off that shit.
My younger brother did something like, he used to help himself to what was in the liquor cabinet when he was in his teen years, but I don't think he ever put anything else in it. I think he just let my parents think that, oh, well, I guess it's gone. I guess I need to go to the store again.
I don't know what that means. I'm not scared of you. I'll kick your ass, pal. No, I'm just kidding. You don't scare me, you young whippersnappers. I got a weapon right here. Best name ever is like, holy crap. A family in Michigan. Yeah, pop, soda. It's soda pop, technically. So if you want to use
call it either one.
Either one, yeah.
Here's one that was unique to the area that I lived in, and nobody I've ever found anywhere else that calls it this. Do you have any idea what a bubbler is?
A bubbler? Mm-hmm. We used to catch little fish that used to dig in the mud. Like mud skippers. They used to make bubbles, but that's... Actually, now that I think of it, they might have been clams. We used to go clamming. A drinking fountain. Okay, I have no idea.
It's in Milwaukee, and I think it's the only place in the country, or I don't even know if it's in the world, but it's the only place where they call it that. Yeah, people from the Milwaukee area call a drinking fountain a bubbler.
A bubbler. Let's go get a soda stream. Soda streams are good, actually. I have a friend that has one, and I use it whenever I'm over there. I'm like, hey, you mean I can make my beer even more fuzzy? And I'd stick it in there. Of course, it would overflow, and I'd be cleaning a fucking mess up. I did it once, guys. That's all it takes. Once. You do that once with beer. Beer's already foamy as fuck, and you try to make it more foamy. It's a bad idea. Of course, I smoked copious amounts of marijuana before trying it. So. There you go. Yeah.
You know those Facebook quizzes that they give you? I once took one that was, what area of the country are you from? And one of the questions on the quiz was, do you know what a bubbler is? And as soon as you answer that question, you're from Milwaukee.
Yeah. That was an easy one to make figure out, right? Hilarious. Yeah, I don't know how they'd be able to tell that I was from Vancouver. Like, well, there's one way. They can say, "Is there a Starbucks every 30 feet?" Because there literally is. I would have, yes, there's a Starbucks every 30 feet. Like, I go outside the front door and there's already a barista going, "How would you like your coffee?" I'm like, "Whoa, dude, I just left my apartment. What are you doing here?"
You don't tell them with brandy in it?
Yeah, if you can put Kahlua or brandy or something in there, I'm game. Bring it in. Yeah, that's what you do. You bring it into to Starbucks and you hand them the little airplane balls and go, "Here, stick this in there too." Shove Irish cream or something in there. They're like, I don't think I could do that, sir. Yes, you can. You're capable. Unscrew the cap and pour. It's pretty simple. What do you want? A fucking you want a piece of paper with instructions on it? Like, come on, buddy. No, I meant legally. I'm giving you permission. You're fine. I'm gonna have to try that now, just to fuck with them. You know, one of the things I used to do when I worked at the mall, I used to work at a place called Sam the Record Man, and I used to go shopping and grab some shirts, socks, whatever, stuff like that. And I always, Mikey, I heard there was booze here. What else is fucking new? Anyway, so I always go to the stores and I go in there and I'd be looking around like this, and of course the clerk or the attendant would come up and go, "Is there something I can help you with?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I see you got different sizes here. Do you guys have anything in extra medium?" She go, "What?" I go, "It's not quite a large, but a little bit bigger than a medium. Extra medium." I don't think that's a thing, sir. Well, it should be, because I'm in that space. I just walk out of the store, leave them like shaking their head like, "What? Extra medium? What?" Old joke, but it's funny as fuck when you go in and actually do it. Of course, now everything I wear is either extra large or double extra large, depending on where I order from. I find if I order from a lot of these, either Japanese or Chinese type, like Wish or something, stuff comes from Asia. Their sizes are a little smaller, so I got to do 2XL when I order those shirts. I ordered a Spider-Man shirt, and it's very form-fitting now, but I don't have the form that it should be fitting anymore, so I don't really wear it very often. So I'm going to give it to like my nephew or something. I used to be pretty ripped as a kid, man. I'm not a kid anymore.
Yeah.
Ever dropped dry ice into a pitcher of drop? Oh yeah, Vesta, you're absolutely fucking right. We've done that before. We used to use dry ice for fog machines and stuff like that before it went to the liquid form. And we used to take the dry ice and walk around as a joke in a bar and pop them in people's beer. It just flow like crazy, right? It's like yeah, we weren't allowed in that bar anymore.
That's funny.
Well, you know what? It's been almost an hour, Kelly. I mean, fuck, we've gone I can't believe it's been an hour. Why don't we pick this up in an after party? We'll invite a few friends in to make some noise, and we'll have a good time. And thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I'm very
I've enjoyed this and listening that you've given me, and I just really appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. I've been looking forward to doing this with you for quite some time now. And I had something I was going to say. It was almost profound, and it fell out of my head. Let me look around on the ground. No, I don't see it down there.
Sorry.
But, it's okay. It's okay. Well, I was going to say we'll invite a few of our friends in, have a little bit more fun. Size 15 feet. What? Shit, mine are 13 and a half, and I have problems. Wow.
I'm very small. I'm 5'1".
Holy cow. Really? Wow. I know small. If I put these on, I'm over 5. I'm over 6'5" because of the heels. Yeah, I'm a big kid. 200 and what am I now? 242 pounds, I think. Most of it beer belly. They say, like, one guy's like, "I got a six-pack." I go, "Fuck you. I got a keg, pal. You got a long way to go."
I have serious spinal problems, and I was a triathlete for several years. And the last year that I spent 6 years getting ready to do a full triathlon, and the last running, because that was always my.
Wow. Well, you're breaking up on me.
Sorry, I lost my internet for a few minutes there. As I
Bandwidth.
kept track of my times, they kept getting more, and discovered that the problem was my bones, that I've got a severe scoliosis that had gotten much worse. And I lost 3 inches. I was down to 4'11".
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I have a friend named Kimmy, and she's 4'8".
Then I had surgery, and that brought me back up to 5'1" again.
Oh, there you go. I like this non-Hannity. First of all, that's a hilarious name. Do moral objects exist what's a moral object? I don't even know what's a moral object? I'm guessing not a dildo. I don't know. I don't even know what a moral object is. If you're talking about moral objectivity, then no, there's no such thing as moral objectivity. Morals are always subjective and change, and they're fluid. They change from society to society. So, do they have truth values? Sure. I don't know. Oh, Darth Minion. Yeah, probably. It could even be him. See, this is the kind of stuff that I got to put up with. Moral object. Okay, so this is an object. This is an object. This is an object. That's an object. I have no idea what you're fucking talking about. I'm a Hagrid. Oh, hurry. Okay, so a moral object would be either a proposition or an action. Sure, actions, sure. Do they have truth values? I suppose sometimes, probably. But I don't think Neil's moral object Amazon. Did you see that one that IQ put up there? That's hysterical. Sure. That's an object. X, you got to come in the after party, man. Come on, you're too funny. A tool, in fact. You're not a tool, although they're a great band. I think this non-Hannity person's trying to trap me in some sort of something here. And it's not going to work because everything you believe, pal, is utter bullshit. So you should probably think hard on it and reassess your life because you're going down the wrong path. I have my own set of what I consider to be ethical and moral, okay? And basically it boils down to one simple statement. It's kind of a version of the golden rule that was around a lot longer than your deity, by the way. And you harm none, do as you will. A moral realist? Sure, I believe there really are morals out there. There are some that I like to adhere to. I try not to harm people as much as possible. I try to do the right thing. I'm a dedicated blood donor that started the largest single-person started blood donor group in Canada, and I'm very proud of that. And we garner over 450 to 500 donations every single year. If you triple that, that's how many lives we could possibly save. I'm an objectivist. Sure, objectively speaking, maybe. I don't fucking know. I'm very much what's the word I'm looking for? Not objectivist, but optimistic. Does that help? I'm always optimistic. I'm optimistic that humanity will get better, and it'll get a lot better quicker if we get rid of religion. But that's a whole other thing. But anyways, not that that's necessarily the source of all evils in the world, because mostly idealisms of sorts that are bad, and there are good. And I think religion happens to be along the path of when you've got a deity that's perfectly fine with rape and slavery and infanticide, genocide, etc., that's not the guy, and an eternity of punishment for a finite crime. Really? That's the kind of guy you want to follow? Kind of a dick. Like I said earlier, I'm going to make t-shirts. I swear I'm going to make t-shirts now. Mama Atheist was onto something like that. You dickhole. I'm going to start making, the guy's a dickhole. Subjectivist and speak like a moral objectivist. Okay. But I find that morals are subjective. I have what I would consider my own personal objective morality, But that's to me, but it's still subjective to everyone else. So I don't know how else I can go into that. But I told XX super sticker. Hopefully I'll get my money from Google one of these days. I'm a dualist, antithesis with my materialist position. Who said I'm a materialist? I have things, sure, but that's why we're here, right? At the end of it all, I'm not going to have anything. I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm not going to have anything. I'm going to be dead. We're done. So who cares? See, I'm more of an atheist, I guess, than I am an atheist because I just don't fucking care. Right? I see no reason to. So there you go. Anyway, non-Hannity, I appreciate you coming in here and try and talk some form of, I guess, reason in your mind anyways with us. And that's great and all. But we're going to jump into an after party. So if anyone is interested in, yeah, okay, sure. But we're done here. So non-Hannity, you might want to jump into the, or go to the after party and chat with the folks in the chat room there. Because that's where we're going to go now. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed what you saw here, and you do like what I do, you can help out the show by becoming a patron or grabbing, sorry, a couple of things off the Amazon wish list if you like, or you can donate a one-time thing through PayPal. And Kelly, thank you very much for joining me today. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me.
We're gonna get an after party going. So anyone that is interested in joining us for the after party, please send me a message on Twitter or Facebook. If you're not on Twitter and you know me on Facebook, I will send you a link and you can jump in. It might get a little crowded from time to time, so we'll have people swap in and out. And I know IQ will want to be in there, and he's usually a pretty good guy for jumping in and out when people want to come in, because he's got moderating business shit to do anyway. So because he's my moderator extraordinaire. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoy the show. And with the whole pandemic thing going on, remember, guys, to be well and be safe, and above all, be kind. And like I always say at the end of these things, like the late great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time.